Hi there. Today's podcast, we talk about the my N of one, my solution, my cure, not really a cure, how I got my ulcerative colitis to remission. It was really a combination of things. One was obviously prescription medication, which I've talked about before. The second was over-the-counter medication or compounds such as iron, vitamin C, very well known, obviously, but other ones that are very specific to ulcerative colitis as well. And the third one, which I actually got discovered by accident, which is a way to monitor my ulcerative colitis through a constant glucose monitor. So these are the things that we're going to discuss on today's podcast. Hopefully, you take the time to listen to the whole thing. It's not that long, as usual. I'm trying to make them as short as possible, but I think it's well worth it if you are struggling with some type of IBD issue that you at least get some ideas and hopefully speak to a professional about potentially utilizing them. Thank you very much, and hopefully you stay on to listen to the whole thing. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Sur Masala. Today, we're going to talk about my cure to ulcerative colitis. When the doctors tell me there is no cure. I'm your host, Ash, and thank you very much for joining me today. Well, there really is no cure to ulcerative colitis. The only best thing you can do is probably get it into remission. And I would say I'm probably 80 to 90%, maybe 95% in remission. I do get episodes from once in a while where I get stomach cramps, but I think, as I said in my previous podcast or my starting podcast, the line launch one, that it's better to have stomach pains once in a while than to have your large intestines taken out. Now, I do encourage you to listen to the first episode. It kind of lays the groundwork of what I'm trying to accomplish and certainly would be helpful before you listen to this. But as a as a recap of what I went through for the past 12 years, really the bottom line was that when I was first diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, I went to a doctor in the United States, and they gave me the pill solution, and that is typically called the Western medicine, where everything has stages of experimentation, then proving, and then getting FDA approval, et cetera, et cetera. So initially, I was given two pills of a product called Mesalamine. It's a generic drug, and moved to four eventually when two stopped working. And then the next phase would have been immunosuppressants. And then basically, if those don't work, then they take my large intestines out and rejigger things and send you home. And hopefully things work out okay. Well, I wasn't going to take that route. So I really went into a deep research mode and tried to figure this out by myself. Now, honestly, the doctors, all they can do is do exactly that: is give you pills and try to kind of do things in a systematic way as prescribed by their association or by medical practice, whatever it may be. But a lot of times, many doctors will advise you to eat better, exercise. They can't force you to do it, but they tell you you should. And honestly, they can't force you to take the pill either. So my goal is to hopefully try to get you guys to think about all those things and eventually talk to your medical professional and motivate you through education. So in my 4-year journey, what I did was I went through different stages of what I would say experimentation and eventually getting to my N of one, which is really a combination of what I would call Western medicine, which is pill, and Eastern medicine, which is more along the line of herbal medicines or some form of herbal medicine. And honestly, what they both have in common is good nutrition and exercise. So for what is that worth? At least maybe that's something we should all think about. So now, in terms of trying to get to a herbal cure, which is a combination again of the Western and Eastern medicine, I found functional medicine, which experiments with what they know in trying to come up with a solution. Now, the solution is usually trying to figure out the cause of what is actually causing the particular disease and trying to kind of figure out a way to fix it. And so in layman terms, that's what they're supposed to do. So what they did was they went did a series of things, and I'll go over what failed. And actually, I think that's a good thing to go over. First was a FODMAP diet. This is where trying to avoid vegetables which are darker in nature, which irritate the digestive system. Really didn't do anything. Then I was sent to a nutritionist, which typically they say, okay, well, eat whole foods, natural foods. Okay, steel cut oats, blueberries, apples, bran, yogurt. Yogurt, eventually, I didn't trust the manufacturer, so I started making my own. So, and everything was organic on top of it. So it gets expensive after a while when you're trying to eat almost 100% organic, and you're trying to eat all these wonderful um, um, foods. And again, really didn't have any impact. As a matter of fact, all these items that the nutritionist mentioned were probably bad for me, which we'll discuss in a minute. Then I tried the Mediterranean diet, tried the vegan diet, tried a protein diet, and I have to admit that nothing really worked. And if I did, if I, the only thing I can say is that irrespective of what I tried, I still got cramps every once in a while, probably more than once in a while. And but really, there were no other real effects of ulcerative colitis besides the stomach cramps. And every time you try something, it takes about 6 months to actually realize whether something worked or not. So it's always a while. After about 2 or more years of trying these different, you know, diets, whatever else there was, the really wasn't getting anywhere. Now, I have to say, the cure that I eventually got to was quite by accident. But before I get there, let me just talk about what the actual cure was. And again, it's not a 100% cure, it's 80 to 90%. Um, but it can be broken down in various components. It's a combination of this. It's prescription drugs, which I already mentioned, mesalamine. I do take that, and I'll go over the list in a second. And I'll actually include everything in the description below, so you have good detail on what it is that I was doing. I had over-the-counter drugs, and these are all herbal drugs. Diet, obviously, exercise, and then measuring. Now, I said this last because I want to go over measuring for a little bit later on, but it was really by accident how I was able to measure some of the markers that I need to watch in terms of understanding how my gut was reacting or how my body was reacting. Now, on the prescription drug side, I've been taking two medications, mesalamine, and the other one is Creon. Creon, I'm not sure if it works or not, but I take it because it does help with digestion. Um, Again, these are all prescriptions, so please speak to your medical professional. Over-the-counter drug. Now, this is a long list. These are all pharmaceutical grade over-the-counter medications or herbal drugs. They're not quite medications, they're herbal drugs. And the thing is, I'll have another episode to discuss sort of the difference between pharmaceutical grade, what does that mean, versus big box um, stores. And so, what is the real difference between the two? Is there a difference between the two? So, I kind of stick to pharmaceutical grade because I really wanted to get to a solution. It's obviously it's more money. Just the name of it makes it sound more expensive. But here is my list: Curcumin, multivitamin, prebiotic and probiotic, product called Lactoferrin, psyllium husk. Psyllium husk, as you know, is a generic name for, I'm forgetting the name right now, but I'll remember it. But psyllium husk, fish oil. If you don't want to take fish oil, try flaxseed oil. We'll have a whole episode on this in terms of what is fish oil and what are the contents you should look for. Vitamin C. Recently, my gastroenterologist doctor asked me to take um, Akkermansia. Um, Not sure what it does. I'm not sure it really has an impact, but now that I've gone to 90%, he's trying to repair the gut. So we've gotten the ulcerative colitis to the point where it's stable, It's not showing any type of flare-ups, and it's in remission. So let's try to repair what was broken. And the other one is Butyrate, which I haven't started. I ordered it, but again, I haven't started it. Again, goes back to uh, trying to fix the gut. Now, the one product I have to admit that I was taking at one time, and I don't know why I stopped, but I stopped. Maybe I thought it wasn't doing anything, and this was just randomly on my own. It's a product called Slippery Elm Bark Powder. Now, it was discovered in the good old USA by the indigenous American Indians, believe it or not. And they used it for digestion issues, and sore throats and things along that line. And so I had started it, I kind of felt good, and then I stopped for whatever reason. I don't know why. And I recently started it again, and I have to admit, as much as I say nothing works right away, this was one of the things that worked in like a matter of 2 weeks. And I didn't take a lot of it. It was just I put some in my tea or coffee and maybe a half a teaspoon, and just mixed it in. It does taste like sandpaper, by the way. Bark, it is. It is sandpaper basically, but I really felt a lot better. So speak to your professional before doing anything again. Now, in terms of measuring, this was, I think, the point, um, that things changed for me. And it was quite by accident how I actually came to figure out how to measure my ulcerative colitis in terms of food and what is irritating my gut. I was diagnosed as pre-diabetic, no longer there, and the doctor prescribed a constant glucose monitor. Now, again, this is by accident. It was just to control sugar to figure out what I should do or not. And for those of you that want to try to get one of these, I would say speak to your doctor. Whether your insurance covers it or not, I'm not sure, of course. But I believe most of the manufacturers give you about 2 week free trial, and I think doctors have samples too. So you may want to look at both those options. But irrespective, the what what the constant glucose monitor did was every time I ate something, it would show me my sugar levels going up and then coming down. Now, when I ate, normally your sugar levels maybe go up 20, 30 points or so and then come back down. And I'm talking just normally, like they go over maybe over a 2 hour period. Now, when I ate these foods that were normal, high quality foods, blueberries, blackberries, grapes. I used to eat a lot of grapes, apples, steel cut oats. I didn't have dairy, whole food, whole grain, brown rice, all organic. My sugars went through the roof. And I'm not talking about through the roof like, 60, 70 points. I'm talking about 100 to 150, and all within a half an hour. And that was just mind blowing. I didn't know what was going on. Like, what's within these foods that is creating my sugar levels to go from going high and so fast. And so I thought it was the foods, um, that were actually increasing my insulin and then or sugar levels in the blood and thus irritating the gut. Well, uh, interesting enough, one of the doctors back here, um, they said no, it's the other way around. It is, um, meaning back here who's on the books. There's no doctor back here. um, so the what they said was that it is the food that you're eating that is irritating the gut, which is increasing your sugar and hyperactivating your pancreas to to start insulin manufacturing. So that was just a turning point. It was a pivotal point, and now I actually had a clear direction of what was going on, and I could self-monitor. So ultimately, it was high carbs. I am hypersensitive to carbs. So I switched my complete diet around. I went cut out carbs. I increased protein. The carbs I do get are from vegetables, usually raw, like salads. No potatoes, by the way. Potatoes are horrible for you. Uh, and then for bread, I couldn't eat bread anymore because, that's ultra carbs again. I actually found a recipe to make protein bread from from whey protein, and the recipe had rice powder as well, and obviously rice is something that you had to take out as well. And by the way, brown rice, everybody thinks it has more fiber, so it's better for you. Not for me. It really drove my sugars crazy. Now, one of the things that the dietitian also said was, why don't you try eating protein first, then your fat, then eat your carbs last? I tried that too. It didn't work. Nothing worked. So it was clear to me that my body just does not like carbs. And for whatever reason, I don't care about the reason. I just want to know that what the cause was. And so I really stopped pretty much all carbs. I would say maybe 20% of my diet is, if ever, actually, is composed of carbs. If I go out, maybe I'll have a piece of bread, which I don't do too often. Every maybe 3 months, I feel like a bagel. Okay, I'll have a bagel. Yes, my sugar levels go up 200, over 200 to maybe 250 or so. But I don't think it does. Well, I'm sure it does some damage, but no, I think so far it hasn't resulted in any damage. Or so I think once every 3 months is okay. In terms of trying to do, if you really feel like it, um, then go ahead. And again, this is for me. Now, one interesting thing I have to add in this experimentation, and it really is an experimentation, to see if the cause was sugar or was it carbs. So I had ice cream. Now you would think ice cream, oh my God, that's going to drive your sugars batty, right? No, it didn't bother me. It was really amazing. Went up 20, 30 points like everybody else. And what was the difference in ice cream? No carbs or very little, very little. And same thing with cheesecake, almost zero carbs. So, and then I did an experiment with yogurt. I tried regular yogurt and my sugar levels went crazy. I looked at the back of the label and it's like, yeah, 30 grams of carbs per serving. And then I switched over to Greek yogurt, which only had about, I think, 8. And Yeah, nothing. So, which is fantastic. So now I have a direction on what foods I can eat and I can't eat, and I've been really strict about it. And this is, I think, one of the things that has led me to remission for the past 5 years. And we're not done yet. As we're repairing, we also have another gut problem that a lot of people have. And I think ulcerative colitis and Crohn disease is probably, one is large intestine, one is small intestine. But really, I think what's going on is that a lot of people are struggling with what's called leaky gut. Now, this is extremely hard to solve. I'm still trying to figure it out. I think I probably have leaky gut, and I don't even know where to start with it. But hopefully, we can talk to some guests in the future that can help us kind of figure out what it is that's going on with leaky gut. How do you get it? If there's a cause, again, ulcerative colitis does, we don't know the cause, but it's there. Um, and then what we're going to do is also have another guest next time. Actually, um, is we're going to start with fitness. Now, I think fitness is one of the hardest things to start, and I've had my ups and downs with fitness itself as well. So I am going to be talking to a fitness expert next week, or next time rather. It's already next week. And the thing I find about confusing about fitness is depending on the who you talk to in terms of um, their philosophy on fitness, they will tell you different things. So I rather break it down to, let's break down the basics. Why do you need fitness in your life? One, and then break it down by age group, what you should be doing. Obviously, what you can do in your 20s is certainly not what you can do in your 70s and 80s and 90s. So we'll try to break that down a little bit and figure out what is the most important thing you should do. My goal with fitness: how do I spend the least amount of time in any type of gym or fitness program and get the maximum output? So how do I do that? And so it would be really great to hear from my next guest, and it will be a guest on this particular subject. Now, before we end, um, help me make Sarah Masala a success, please. Uh, I think I think one first thing you can do is subscribe and put the alerts on. So that would be great. And if you have any thoughts or comments, please put it in the comments. I'd love to hear from everybody. And if you have some comments that are a little contrary to what I'm saying, shoot me an email. Maybe I'll have you on as a guest. I think that would be a lot of fun. Maybe educate me on what I don't know. So certainly going to talk about a lot of different things here. So for now, I will say bye from Sir Masala, where motivation through education is one of the goals, and hoping you never have to find your N of one. But if you do, you get some education here to help you with that. Thank you very much for listening.